Hello, good evening, everyone. Let me turn down the music a little more. There we go. Happy Thursday. Hi, Toad. Thank you for being first. I hope everyone's doing well. Should the music be... No, okay. My audio meters just take a bit to update, of course. I hope everyone's doing well. Sorry, my mind is like elsewhere tonight because I have some NDA work that I'm kind of also like I need to like work on this, and if if I don't, then I have deadlines coming up. It's not like hard deadline. Well, okay, there wasn't like a strict deadline, but there's like a vague deadline, which means I technically have a deadline. So I'm kind of like, I have a deadline, so I really need to devote some more time to this NDA work that I have, and I don't know. Maybe this weekend. I think this weekend, I'll have some good amount of time to like work on stuff for this NDA project. I'm hoping. Um, but I know it's always dependent on like my motivation and energy levels, but I think I'm always good for like weekends to work on that sort of stuff. But yeah, I was working on some of that like within the past few hours, like past 1 or 2 hours before stream. So I'm kind of like, ooh, my mind is like elsewhere. Like I've been looking very forward to the stream because it's going to be studies and stuff. But I'm here being like, let me just take a moment to get distracted and work on something else that I know has been that is kind of starting to become more urgent and depressing. And now my mind is like mentally in a different realm. um like different sort of it's like it's adjacent creatively, but it's like it's a very different sort of like under not understanding. It's like the way I have to approach it is a lot more different. Well, I guess it's kind of related to what we'll be doing tonight. So I guess it's not that unrelated, but it's uh, between art and design stuff. Design is a lot more rigorous in what I'm trying to do. Um, so me approaching design is a lot more different than how I would approach art. But again, we're doing more studies. We're more study oriented tonight for this art stream, so probably we'll be okay. But again, my mind is just like, I want to focus on the NDA work, and I'm like, it's okay. I have the weekend to work on it. So I'm just kind of like, I need to like switch gears basically, and it's going to be kind of annoying. Um, yeah. Hi, Kremaset. Good morning. Go get breakfast. I hope you had good sleep. Well, come on in. Let me reply to a DM really quick. Me sending a DM now just made me sink back into NDA world and like, man, um, it's really funny because it could really become a co-working stream where I don't show what I'm working on because I have done that twice. The first time was literally for stream assets, and then the second time was more so because I needed to censor the giant ass that I was drawing on stream, which is really funny. Yeah, woohoo, NDA work. One track mind, but also not a one track mind. Anyway, hello, it's Thursday. Let's talk about today. Tonight is an art stream. You know, we usually do art streams, but I one of my New Year's resolutions. Let's actually catch up for a moment and review my resolutions for this year and my progress. It's gonna be really embarrassing. Art. Sketch something weekly. Oh, world building concept art monthly. Fuck. Host monthly art studies with Citrona. So it's kind of uh-oh. Yikes. Um I've been doing art. I haven't been meeting those specific art goals, but I am supposed to be doing art studies. So we're finally starting that in May. After a third of the year, no, quarter? A third. A third of the year is over. Was I seeing all the other goals that we had or in the other category specifically? Ooh, ooh, part of the yawn. Um, the dentist one is scary. Anyway, um, doing art definitely like hit some goals in streaming and music so far, or I guess more like progress habits. Anyway, want to do more art studies, and there's been one art study that I've been really wanting to do, and that's been updating the way I do coloring and rendering. So that is what tonight's stream is going to be about. We're gonna start calling these Theory Thursdays, and I guess they're going to be on Thursdays now. And the reason why I came up with Theory Thursdays because I was mentioning in my group chat with Citrona and Mika, I was like, look, I'm collecting some images and stuff. This is going to be so exciting for the stream. Um, and Mika was like, LOL, what if you threw in like this for quote unquote color theory Thursday. So because they said that, I was like, ooh, theory Thursdays. I do like that. Um anyway, this isn't the exact image that they were talking about, but it's adjacent enough. Oh, where is it? It's adjacent enough since this is kind of color theory related. If you haven't seen like the memes about hospitals and using red and stuff in hospitals, I actually did not save the other image. I probably should have. Let me do that really quick. Okay, come here. Come to me. I'm gonna save this into my folder. This is not the right folder though. Projects, color studies, red for hospitals, but the classic. So if you haven't seen the classic image, I'll show that one. Our local children's hospital recently redecorated, but I'm not too sure they really thought things out. So adjacent to that is this one that I found when searching up the meme. So I'm opening a new hospital, and I think I'm going to buy some of these window clings to decorate the glass in the children's ward with. So vibrant. Red is associated with vitality, so I think sick children will feel energized when they see this. My thoughts exactly. The bright red means energy, willpower, strength, and determination. So kids going in for life-saving surgeries will see these and be reassured that they're going to be okay. So yeah. Let me zoom in a little more. Just you can see this a little better. There you go. Yeah. So we're doing color theory tonight. Yay! Yeah. So for color theory stuff specifically, um, sorry, I feel like I'm also like yawning a lot. This always happens whenever I do an evening stream, which is all the time. Anyway, for tonight's specific studies, I said it was going to be specifically about coloring and rendering, so I kind of do a nice colorful job as this, but I really want to step it up and make my art look really funky and iridescent. Not like psychedelic, but like more iridescent, use a lot more color variation, stuff like that. So I think the biggest thing for me would be to more carefully study color theory, and specifically for tonight's Theory Thursday is we're going to be looking at a bunch of tutorials. That was a nice burp from me. We're going to be looking at some tutorials. So I collected both tutorials and also just general art pieces. Okay, that's a burp. If I can speak a body. Tutorials, some of these artists have made, but also some more selection of just general art pieces that are kind of portraying the concept that I want. So to start, I am going to I'm gonna make a folder, call it references. I'm gonna start importing images instead. And I hope they're not too big. Hold on, I need to cough. Okay, I think I'm alive. Continues to die further. Actually, hold on. Okay, great, awesome, cool. What a time, especially when I gotta speak a lot. Anyway, let me open this one. I showed this Monday? Oh, I thought I was opening it, not importing it. Okay. Did they show this to y'all on Monday or Tuesdays? Monday, I think it was Monday. Very nice tutorial. Again, this is by Asiwo_MGMG on Twitter. They no longer post as far as I know. Or their Twitter account at least is privated. I don't really know if they have any other links at all for us to like see their art more closely and stuff and get a better idea. But as you can see, this art is a lot more vivid. There's a lot more color variations. It's super saturated and stuff, and that's kind of like what I want to play around with, get a better idea on. I'm like vaguely adjacent enough in my coloring and rendering schemes that I think stepping into this shouldn't be too bad. But it's going to be a lot of practice. So that'll be the focus for today. The issue is I was supposed to prepare sketches to color in for this, and I did not prepare anything yet. So you know what I should do? I think I should take some time to make a sketch right now. So give me a moment. We're gonna do a sketch. Or I guess this is the drafting layer. Is there a character? I feel like just like a simple human character would be like a good start, but I don't know who I would do. The other thing I was thinking of was doing simple apple. The apple. Let's just do an apple. Let's just unsplash. I would like a royalty-free apple image. Just an apple. Ah, my jaw just popped. Okay. A single apple that I can vaguely reference. Sure. Thank you. What's this in my food? Why do I have a green apple in there? What is that for? I don't remember the last time I would have drawn an apple, like, legitimately, is the thing. But now I'm really confused. Ooh, okay. Thank you, chair, for making noises. Okay, well, in any case, this is an apple. Um, this is going to be kind of like our reference. Yeah, right. Okay, invert again. Cropping mask. Thank you. There, this is our apple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just very vaguely create the shape. Oh, I don't really need this color wheel in here anymore. Vaguely create the shape for this. And then that'll be like our faux liner. I think I'll just do lineless rendering for proof of concept today. We'll just draw the very ambiguous shape of the apple. And that'll be like our reference point. And I think I'll try to also draw the shadows so we can use the shadows as some amount of reference in this, I guess. Hi, Bones. Apple. Apple indeed. Happy Friday. I hope you're doing well. The little belly button, the stem. The shadow is a pretty simple shadow. It's mainly just like here right below the apple that it's being cast. I think there's some additional shadows, but it looks more like it's because of potentially multiple light sources hitting it. I also did get I downloaded the smaller resolution for this. Where's, hold on. Hold on, I need to relocate the, also it's been a while since I've used a white background on Clip Studio, but I decided that if I had my colored paper, um, templates, it would probably mess with my color perception. So I decided to just change it back to normal white. It's so unnerving because I haven't done this in a hot while. Okay. You overslept and you're suffering the bodily consequences. It's so hard being unemployed. I see. I lend you my condolences, oh struggler of being unemployed. Well, you can always rest more. Just keep sleeping, you know, like Apple baselines. Okay, so I'm just gonna like make multiple duplicate layers. Thank you. If I do this again, and then just kind of do that, and then if I just, I probably don't need this many apples, but it's okay. Oh, distribute evenly. Cool. 7 apples. Okay, great, awesome, great, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna start doing a color base. I'm gonna tackle this. So the way I always tackle my rendering is I'm always starting with a warmer version than what the colors would be. So this, if you said this is like a typical red, I go with red orange because I usually work with um a stronger, a more warmer palette just by default. So, and one other note is I don't really saturate my colors too much past the 50 points on my HLS meters. But since this is it's a lot closer to warm, I can probably be okay using warmer colors or more saturated on this. So I guess I'll just fill this in. I'll actually put this below our baseline so I know what I'm doing. The cast shadow I'll probably do as a separate layer entirely. I do a lot of blending modes whenever I do rendering, so since I do have some amount of color jitter on this, I'll use my wet gouache instead because that one has the better blending parameters. But we'll keep color jitter since I do color jitter by default, which helps with the variation in colors that you might expect in like a more painterly style. So what I do is I use a blending mode, a layer on blending mode multiply, and I call this shading. Um, it looks like, yeah, you can see it look like the light is hitting from the front. So do some saturation, we'll move it over this way. So we use kind of like a bright magenta for shading color. And then there's some additional shading here. What I would do is I'll use my blender here that I have. Gives it a bit of a rougher texture, so I have to be careful. And then we'll use it here in order to blend this out to this, because it's just generally smooth throughout, no matter what. And I can also technically use my gouache wet brush to do some amount of blending too. But most importantly is using the fact that this is kind of like a hard edge and conveying that in rendering. Question mark. So from here, I'm going to start decreasing colors. You can make this more saturated. I'll probably change the hue to be a little more blue. Okay. I think next I'll do color variations on top because this apple has color variations. So this is a lot closer to yellow. Um, as always, I always move things toward orange in general, so we're not going to keep it as true to the original colors. Although I'll add it's a little more yellow than this, I would say. Yeah, there you go. Because it's almost like yellow-green, depending on how you view it. I'm actually going to use this A1 brush, because this one gives me some rougher textures I might want. It's kind of like stripy the more I look at this, right? It's like vertical striations in the patterning of the apple. It actually kind of helps because then you can kind of use that to your advantage to kind of like convey a bit of volume here. Like a nice one yellow spot there. Is color jitter on? No. Color jitter really needs to be on. I can't tell. Okay, I do have the original image from Unsplash. I think there's this general speckling on this apple. Why are apples speckled? Is this just a normal thing for apples? Okay, I can start removing that. Start kind of guesstimating. So we'll add the stem in. And make it darker. I do a lot of clipping masks to add detail and stuff, so maybe we'll try practicing single layer coloring also, which sounds really scary to try. The stem tip, okay. And then what I'm gonna do is make a layer for highlight. So I would do like I do gloss and I have a highlight layer. So gloss is like slightly different. So highlights are like strict, really bright highlights, and gloss is more like subtle changes in brightness. So like around here, because of this really bright but specular highlight, I would do like gloss like that. And then I would probably add some of this gloss here too, based on the surface of the apple. I might make this stronger. I can just kind of like blend it in, but maybe there's some good. Perhaps there's some good in leaving it more blocky. Depending on how stylized I'd want to be, you know. Which I think can work well in a very stylized form. Okay, so we have a gloss set up, and we're gonna do highlights. Highlights I usually do like add, but it can also be a screen blending mode. But with this one also, it's shouldn't really be that particularly colored, but it's whatever. I think for this one we can not blend it, so it'll be more like a very faint spot over here. And we'll actually kind of blend it out a bit. Go, oh, that's not a lasso. Go, my lasso tool. I'm gonna shift it over, so I'll probably shift this one over a little more too. Oh, look at that apple. Okay, turn this back on. I would like to. So this is the apple base. We have the stem. I'm gonna do the shadow, and we're gonna start adding some additional light effects based on what's around the apple. And I don't. It's been a while since I've gotten that level of detail whenever it comes to doing anything art-wise. So we're gonna see if I like it or not. Oops! Don't put the folder in there. Oh, I did it again. So this one will be kind of saturated, but not too much. It can be just kind of a this. And there's going to be some finicky stuff happening with this too, so I'm going to have to fiddle around with that also. There's like, so there's, you can see there's light reflected onto the apple from the white background. You can see the red of the apples reflecting into the shadow that it's casting. So there's a lot of weird light effects that I'm going to have to account for in this first render. Hi, Citrona. Good morning. You keep taking naps when Sally's taking naps, so you can't trim her. Oh my god. Is Sally napping like the best time to like trim her nails, or okay, so if I look at the original image, it looks like the shadows at the edge are more pale and faint. So turn off our guide layer. Let's actually lighten this up a little bit too. If we move it up a little further. Alright. Ayo, ayo. Ayo, ayo. She's too wiggly when she's awake. I see. That's fair. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, maybe I'll make the shadow darker again. I should do the apple speckling too. Hold on. I could manually draw in the speckling, which I don't know why these apples are speckled in the first place, but whatever. It's very like almost like bright, like pink spots too. They're very erratic for sure, pattern wise. So I can like. You be careful to not make them look too stroke-like, too lengthy, because then they start looking like he's in a fucking strawberry. There's some clusters of specks that are like really close to each other. I also kind of want to get those in to add to like the variation of how this apple looks. I don't think I've drawn a realistic apple like this. Like, I don't think I've drawn anything this of this level of realism in like forever. Definitely in like high school art class, but I don't know about like after that. Sounds great. Okay, so I think next thing, there's like a lot of striations in general, so I might actually do. We'll call this like the yellow variations, and then I'm gonna add a red variation section, and I might use this brush, and I might kick up the variation level more on this. I might change this to 12, 8, 8. Because you can see a lot more of those striations and stuff going through the apple. Okay, maybe not that much change. Definitely color jitter will help me obtain that vibrancy look that I want once we start the actual bulk of the study. Okay, we'll use our blender to make these color variations not super strong. Okay. Gonna add as a clipping like this, we're gonna add a little red into this, move it its way, saturate it, bring it up brightness wise. And I think on the edge would be the best because it would make sense for right under the apple to have like the most darkest section to it because of fully obscured and barely any light can really hit it, I guess. Actually, I'm gonna grab the color base and use that as the coloring on this instead. And we're kind of just gonna lower the opacity of this. And then next, we'll go onto our apple. I'm ignoring the water droplets. Just so you're aware, I'm not doing the water droplets right now. We're gonna do some bounce light on this, so that's just mainly. I feel like this should go below all the gloss and highlights. We'll do bounce light. So if we had any rim lights, this would be like the time to do it for sure. We'll do this at 50%. We'll do a hard edge and then we'll blend it in. I feel like there's like a big patch of bounce light here for some reason. Maybe I should use that to my advantage. I'll use this blender. This already looks pretty good without blending, but I'll turn up my music here. Don't care. Let me shift it over like UI-wise. This is also in 50, 60. It's really weird to look at just in general. I'm just like, wow. I have not rendered like or tried rendering like this in like a while. This is fun. Aside from the water drop, oh, I should save this. Yes. Aside from the water droplets, this is pretty good. 250515. We'll call this Theory Thursday. Sure, that's fine. Okay, well, there you go. This is how I would be rendering an apple, strictly with how I approach rendering. There are some adjustments in my techniques, because this is me trying to attempt more realism-esque while still keeping the whole, I guess, painterly aspect that I have with my blending and my texture brushes. But as you can see, I have a lot of layers, a lot of blend modes galore, a lot of separation of things. You can see the stem, the shadow, or separate layers, for example. I don't really merge anything at all. So that's a good starting point for us to kind of understand where I'm going to go with this. So red for hospitals. So I guess let's start looking at some of this. So I guess let's start looking at this tutorial first. I think one of the first things I want to do is, while I was looking through all of these tutorials, I have like how many? I have like 22 images in this color studies folder. One of the items was talking about like impressionism, and another thing was kind of just generally describing the usage of keeping the values the same but varying the colors enough despite the overall values slash luminosity looking fine, right? So one big thing that I'm going to be doing here is filling this with white and doing a grayscale kind of check. So if we kind of like zoom in really quick. Oh, JPEG, lovely. I think the biggest sections I want to like highlight here, where you see noticeable like how it's like the values are the same, but the hues are very different. Right here, you can see that blue and red, that color variation, yet in grayscale, it's not particularly that distinguishable. Um, you see a bit of blue in the skin here, and that kind of blends in once it's grayscale also with the normal shading for the skin. The choice of colors itself is an interesting thing also. How do I edit a color or put in a hex code? Are there any other color windows I'm missing? What is approximate color? What is... Oh, okay. Intermediate. Oh, wow. I don't have, like, any other interesting windows? Or, like... No, okay, well... I feel like the biggest thing I want to point out is this hair is very blue, so it really feels like the primary color of the hair is blue. It could also not be, based on how the art style works. You can see they're pointing out their highlights here that stand out, and it's this really bright cyan and that really like pinkish color. I wonder if they're using that because the cyan is a lot closer to blue and the indigo, and then this pinkish color is a lot more distinct on like the color wheel. It looks like also they're sticking with a lot more saturated colors overall with their pieces, which is like, oh, I always stay with like somewhat low saturation, so that might be something I should try playing with for this. Also, I'm gonna pull up Google Translate so I can try to like translate some of this. I'm gonna do it on my Firefox on my PC instead, because otherwise, it turns out mobile app for Google Translate sucks really, really bad. Hi Nikki. Okay, I'll hydrate and stretch my hands. I think I already saved. No, I'm gonna go save it right now. Okay, save. And then I'll stretch my hands after I type in some initial. So it says chirabari, which is like the scatter. So I guess like the distribution of colors. So it looks like they have a smaller distribution of colors is what that's telling me. At least on the color square. That slice of hue, that saturation versus luminosity plot, basically. Now, am I gonna try to translate this even though it's all handwritten? Probably. Uh, I know that's like, I think that's the same um kanji as Sugi, if I'm right. No, it has this, it's similar radicals, I think. What is that? What is that? And then this kanji I can write. And then that's color. Not me writing it wrong. Colors used. Okay, got it. Okay. Okay, I feel like I'm gonna try trying to translate this bottom part here, but I'll try my best. Okay. What what kanji is that? What is this? Looks like the heart radical at the bottom. Okay. The Mashita. A sense of unity has emerged, or a sense of unity came out. Okay. Toitsukan ga demashita ne. Okay. Cool, I guess. I feel like it's hard to figure out which ones I should be translating as like tips, but anyway, point is a lot of color variations. Oh, let's look at the shirt also. There's like subtle ones in the shirt also. It's fascinating. Okay. Let me pull out another one in my project compilation that we have. Um, this one, which I think explains the concept I'm going for specifically, this is by number 129 or NO129 Abi on Twitter. I believe they're also on Blue Sky as NO-129. .bsky.social. But you can see it's a color variations, but still trying to keep the same value throughout. So if we do the same hue limitations, okay, it's just about the same. A lot of the colors there, you don't see any variation unless you see the actual hues that are being used. That's very cool to see. Also, best of luck with your animation efforts, Cremoset. Live 2D in Blender, huh? I've heard about some of that stuff done before. I'm sure you'll be fine. Question mark. Hang in there. You got this. We're all here to improve our creative skills. Yeah, Impressionism, Claude Monet. And then let's pull up this Amiya piece by Kirabani. So this one is Kirabani. So if we pull our same grayscale trick, you can see some very vivid hue shifts here that are being used as highlights that only mainly stand out as highlights otherwise when you do grayscale. And you can see some fascinating color variation in the background. Also, look at that magenta. That really shifts the color because that's very opposite of like, it's not fully opposite, but it really is a distinct divergence from the cyan and almost like kind of salmon cream color that's being used in the background. Now we see some of the cyan popping up here on the black sleeve with this orange highlight. And again, those all just pop up as regular highlights otherwise. See some color variations here in shadows. We have some very distinct dark blues and purples that are a lot more saturated. You can see this blue, this blue here, and this kind of green outline here blend together in black and white also. There's that. Hi Onyx, thank you for stopping by for stamp. I hope you're doing well. Have a good nap, or not good nap, good sleep. Mwah. Sorry, I'm in theory mode, so I am kind of like occupied. I wonder, does this have any? Oh, these color blotches blend in black and white. Fascinating. Okay, that's really cool. It's a lot of using those full complementary colors, I feel like, or colors that are almost like very distinctly a few steps away in your hue slider. And you can see there's a lot of specific choices that are being used here for like the hue and stuff. Let's close that one, close that one. What other examples we have? I do have another tutorial by Casio MG. As you can see again, there's a lot of color variation in the hair. Look at that. And you can really kind of tell that the base color is this color, but you can see a lot of color variation here for what looks like the highlights and stuff. And that gets really like confusing, honestly. Oh, distorted alert. What's happening? What the? Meepy. Thank you, Meepy, for the gifted sub to Sutbon. Hi, Meepy. I hope you're doing well. Goodbye. I gave you a forehead kissy for gifting a sub, moi. I hope my bot enjoys the gift sub. I guess it'll be able to use my emotes now. Anyway, back to tutorial studies. What other ones should we look at? I have this one also, which is by Anna_1217. So you can see some interesting color variations also. They talk about their coolers and some of their warmers, I think. Some really vivid color choices too. Look at that orange against that teal. It's really bright blue that they're using. And then, I'm sorry, why are there little people over here? What is happening? Very cute. Okay, my music paused. Thank you. I also have another one, which is background progress work that they did. We can see some of those color variations again in these pieces. Look at that sky. Look at that indigo to more cyan, and in the grass, it goes from almost teal all the way to this full-on yellow chartreuse. Oh. Here's another one. This is by No Concept. Let me put her username in. No Concept. There you go. As you can see, it talks about using single tone, small areas, which is more similar to how I do color-wise. And this is a really wide range of color. Like, they're going from here all the way to here. I wonder how this looks when you do the Q test specifically. Seeing where the choices, there's just more like a bounce light sort of choice. But I think if you were to darken it, you definitely still get like it's a shadow, but there's a lot of hue variation in it. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna delete maybe like 2 of these apples. Oh, I accidentally rotated my canvas. Cool, good job me. Should I do? Should I start another render? I guess and see if we can incorporate more of that. Here we can go into this one. Exercise 1. How should I start with this? Okay, this layer does stay locked. I guess we'll start with our color base. So I'll try to respect the colors more. Keep the saturation a lot higher. We'll start with a nice dark color, maybe a little more red orange. No, I think more very pure red will be fine. This is my pencil tool. Start with our dry gouache to set the color base. Okay, maybe I need to put this in like a multiply or something so I can see this a little better. Or okay, fine, 50%. Or just the beat is one. Oh, this is like not the right one anyway. JK, hold on. Awkward. Teehee. I think it's this one. Yeah, it is. Ha 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 ha. Hardy har har. Anyway. Okay, so we have color variation already by default, thanks to this color jitter effect that we have on our brush. So how would I start color variation on this? Well, we know how to start with like shading stuff, so I'm gonna still use like clipping, doing layer clippings, but I'll try not to like use blending modes as much. So we'll do shading. Take this off multiply. I did that so automatically. I'm gonna try to use. We're gonna use this purple. I'm gonna use this purple kind of, and try using that as like a shading color, and we'll use some intermediates in between also. Gonna see what happens. And then I can do some rough blending here. Towards the beat is one. I need you, I need you. Gonna grab this because I kind of need this for this part of the apple. Towards the beat is one. I need you, I need you. Use this A1 brush. I need to turn down the variation level on this. Ooh, that's 44 saturation change. It's going to be crazy. Try to blend a dark purple outward a little more. Purple apple. So psychedelic looking, sorry. Let me change the hue a little bit so now it's a little, maybe 10. Then I'm also gonna fill everything with white so we can have a hue value check layer, basically. Value check. Okay, what it tells me is I need to make these brighter somehow. What if I use that? That's amazing. Apparently this is the same value, just about. Blend it, blend. Hopefully I get a better grasp on this by the end of the stream. Okay, and then we'll add some gloss up for texturing. Not the hospital tabbing. I should keep these tutorials open so I can kind of see what they're doing also. I could probably still keep this the same way with blending modes, but let's see. Let's try doing a gloss. This current color. Keep it not too saturated, and then we'll make it super saturated for the highlight, I guess. Do some of these. And lovely lopsided apple. Highlights. Because yellow is already bright as it is. I got to add this gloss over here also. Boba tea. Fried robotics. Fried chicken. Right in the Hollywood Hills. Blend it outward. This is also kind of helping to do it in just black and white. I'm gonna do color variations, considering these are not blending modes. It's about same. Same. Ooh. Okay, I will say this is it is brighter. It is brighter when you look at it. Kind of funny because once I turn on the other layers, this will be like partially hidden. Also, like put this up here at the top and just kind of like blend mode it. I'll like redo the blotches entirely for this. It's interesting to do. Apple base. Do the stem again. It should be remarkably darker though. I think I should turn up the brightness on this one. Whoa, this is trippy color now. Stem tip. A little darker. We need the speckling. Take the yellow blotches. Do the same thing. Pretty sure it's gonna look really trippy once I turn this off again. Thing next is the catfish shadow. Let's try this dark blue. It's a lot darker than it should be. That's what I got for using blue, really. And we can turn this off on. How does it work here if I turn off the bounce light? Okay, the bounce light really makes it... Okay, interesting. Okay. Reflected light of apple. Grab this color. Then bounce light on the apple. Might be able to do the bounce light. This is the same kind of low opacity. Okay, big chunk here, big chunk on this side. Otherwise, it's outline everywhere else. Then we'll start blending. Not that big. Make it brighter. Or we can increase the opacity of this. That is one trippy apple. Most importantly is that value-wise, any more at the bottom. And that's what it is. Let me just base darker. see just this a little bit. Trippy looking apple. That's like really extreme color variation. Okay, not too bad. Conceptually, I'm understanding the whole value thing. This is a very extreme way to do it, but conceptually I see it. I have some other tutorials that we can look at. Closing the hospital thing. So we can close. I have this piece of fruit. Seems to be very popular on Pinterest. This is by Pico Zuma, which I think they had a username change because I know it says Peach Cosmos or Peach Cosmo in the corner, but I was able to find the artist, though, although under a different name on Twitter. What do we have here? We have some distinct things that I recognize, like the line here for subsurface scattering, which maybe I should also include, but this is not like a hard border anywhere. There's some really intense color variations too, so let's do our usual thing. This one probably could be accomplished with like some blending modes, perhaps. But they have some interesting color variations too, also. I think we also drag our cursor around, we'll see that a lot of the saturation is super fucking high in general. Seems like some of the more shaded areas are less saturated versus the normal colors. You get a really vivid, really neon vivid part of it, and then everything in the shadow tends to be a lot less saturated, it seems. I really wish I had the square thing to look at this more better, but interesting. Okay. Okay, he's ready to do more apples. Here we go again. I think this one's our next apple. Exercise 2. So I guess what we should do is super, super vivid. We can use blending modes again, maybe? We'll see. Let's start with a nice red apple, very saturated. Ooh. I'm gonna scream as soon as I put this color down. Full saturated apple. I think kind of similar to this, because this one also uses like a really good saturation on that. Clean up the shape a little bit. Okay, what if we just didn't do the splotching and then we do... How would I do the shadows without any like... Okay, if I pick displayed color, that does immediately destroy the saturation amount, huh? It's not like too bad. We just shaded with really saturated colors. I think that just makes this feel super bright, even at that darker. Well, shading-wise, it's definitely darker. Literally tell that it's darker by doing it this way. Cover it in more, because the shadow shouldn't creep up that much on this form. And then as always, you know, there's a shadow here. Actually, should I be... Let me just start carving at it to kind of give it a more blocky shape. This is so crazy to look at. I'm gonna fix the striations on this by using this. Welcome back, Citrona. Med Drama Hell, huh? Welcome back from Med Drama Hell, I think. We're here drawing apples. Oh shit, oopsies. It's doing the thing. Should be pick from image, not from displayed. Okay, 5, 5, oop, 5, not 5 saturation. Are you here to do studies with us, Citrona? Would you like to draw apples over and over again with differing ideas on how to color them? It's very fun, I promise you. It's so fun to color an apple over and over again. So much fun. Drawing hard. You're drawing horses. I feel like you're a pro with all the horses that you've drawn. How does that look? Okay. This is so bright of an apple. Like, you can see value-wise that there's some amount of shading being done, but I'm also like, ugh. What's happening? Do I need to darken this? And let me see without the bounce light. I can make this darker actually. I had my music paused. Hold on. YouTube music. Why do you keep doing this? Apples. Okay. Fair. Fine. Apples are not horses. Yes. Okay, now what if we add gloss? And we're gonna keep it really similar in like the range that we're doing here. And then when we do like, I guess the highlight will like make it pop off at a different color, I guess should be the idea, question mark. Hey Zal, hello. Nice to see you as always. Hope you're doing well. Happy Thursday / Friday. Welcome to our art study session. Time is gone. This one is highlight. Let's choose this chartreuse color and see what'll fucking happen if we do that. Maybe if we make it like more bluish, it's not gonna pick up. Color dodge. Normal. Ooh, bright highlight, but it's actually a complementary color. Ooh, scary. Ooh. That grain is vibrating. Good me. Color is this? Increase luminosity, try to keep its saturation up. It's very pretty to look at, I will be honest. Apple base. Next we'll add the bounce light. We'll make it also green to compensate, which will be really weird combination wise. Did we screen? This should probably be screen. What's the right color? Hold on. Okay, I think it is. I just blend it in. Okay, let's do the stem base. We have the stem tip. It's too bright. Let's move it. Okay, turn this off. I think we just need to do the shadow below it now. Let's use the same chartreusey color that we've been using, I guess. Ooh. Okay, then we do the bounce light from Apple. 50% opacity, normal blending. Smooth apple, no speckles. More stylized. I mean, I guess I could still do speckling if I wanted to. Let me just be like the first apple we did. Make the speckling bigger because this is a little more stylized anyway. Actually, let me use this square texture brush that I have. Yeah, we can decrease the. This apple is very bright to look at. I'm being very honest. It's very. There's a lot. It's so saturated. This is vivid for a different reason. This first exercise is vivid because of the U shifts that are crazy. This one is just saturation crazy. Actually gonna use some. I think me just doing that just made that highlight even worse to look at. It's now it's really burning my eyes. Ugh. What is happening with, oh my god. Hi EB, hello. This is great, thank you. I need to do some stylization studies, so I'm trying to kind of figure out what's supposed to happen with stuff color-wise, and this is there's a lot happening. The first one was just me doing my usual rendering techniques, and then these two are after looking at some tutorials, kind of rethinking how we approach coloring. So now I'm like, ooh, having this apple gives me a lot of serotonin. I wonder if I should add more shading here. Took the city from rockin'. I'm gonna do some shading opaque, which is just pick displayed color, switch it back so this doesn't bother me later, and then we'll just kind of like hue shift this, I guess. Get my value check so I make sure I'm not messing this up. Darker. Yeah, okay, and then we'll just kind of use this to kind of... Cool, now there's even more color variation, although that one's really subtle. I bet, since we understand the value thing, even these space things can be altered to have a little more color variation in it. We just have to make sure we're keeping the value roughly the same, basically. So not too dark on that. Little darker. We could probably use this as like a shading element to some extent, huh? Hmm. You can really do stuff like that when you have like a more flat. This one's a very flat shading. This one's a very more. I know I cut off the edges for stylization, but this apple's a smooth object, so it's a little harder to figure out where I can play with the hues as much, I feel. But I do know I can do this if I turn off her bounce like really quick. I can use the hue color, I think, and I can kind of, it won't affect much else. It might change the values though. I can do this, and it should change the hue entirely. It keeps the value the same, which is pretty great. Okay, cool. If I wanted to like make this more purple-y, so do it very subtly, I could, similar to the second style, but not as intense. Maybe like that, and then values are fine, and that purple is still there but subtle. I think I'm figuring it out. I think I'm figuring out the algorithm that I want to use for here. That is great. I'm a really good artist. Thank you. I'm just trying to achieve my best using studies and stuff. So I've been pulling up a lot of reference photos that are achieving the effect I want. You can see this one has really drastic color shifts. So you have that nice blue and indigos. You have the sudden pink and cyan. This one's a really good one, which was like our starter reference for like a starter to kind of understand it, because the colors on this are super saturated. So that's how this third one started out, with super saturated colors. Um, we took a look at this one also right at the beginning, which kind of explains what I'm doing, which is making sure the values are roughly the same, but still being able to make it look like iridescent, basically. It's a lot of working with like a lot of studying some of these tutorials that we've been looking at to kind of get an idea as to how other artists are achieving it. I really wanted to try this on like a human subject or like a person, because then I can really see how that works. But this is still good. I still think I'm learning a lot just by doing it on an Apple, really. Also, hold on. The location of the highlight on this one is bothering me. Oops, that's not my lasso. Do I have a nickname preference like Bon, or do I just prefer no nicknames? I don't really get that many nicknames, so no worries. I think Bon is fine. I've had some people call me Bon Bon before. I have Citrona call me Bonnie, but spelled differently. And in a way that's spelled like kind of like whiny, in a cute whiny way, like Bonnie. I have been called Bonjinold also, and like discombobulate. So whatever works. If you come up with any new nicknames, I will very gladly absorb them. Bond flames bond. Bonfire. Okay, I'm really liking how this turned out, because this means I can still shade, but I can still this is a really convoluted way to do it, but I can still use my blending modes and stuff, so I can do the usual multiply, but I can use color shifting with the hue blending mode to more accurately control how specifically I wanted to look color-wise. So I could also like, if I did this, I can like make it look more blue on this side. Well, look at how different it looks. So obviously not that intense. Ooh, that's so fun. Okay. Actually, what if we just cut that? Let's just use blue instead. And then we just kind of... It's a lot more subtle. Let's kind of wipe it out a little bit. Okay, we can blend out a little more. I wonder if I should... Can I increase? I think the shadow is actually dark anyway, so... 10. Let me make sure it's super saturated enough, and then start increasing it. Ooh, green shadow. Okay. Not too bad. I still do have a lot of other images in this folder that we haven't looked at yet. We have this one, which is by... How many underscores is that? And this tutorial is by Mong underscore 3 underscores 120. They have a let's see, super saturated, or not too saturated actually. And it goes into just really non-saturated, which helps them kind of go into just kind of like the contrasting pink versus teal. This one is more... It doesn't have that much shift change, but it is going towards the blue kind of. This is fascinating to look at. Oh yeah, this orange is really saturated for the most part, but there are parts where it gets kind of less saturated. Trying to like conceptually understand and kind of absorb how to do this stuff is like quite a bit of a challenge. That's why I'm just going to keep doing these apples so I can kind of get a better grasp of what I'm doing, I guess. Maybe I should do one more apple. Oh, you love the drawing I did of White and Me? Oh yeah, the one I did for his birthday. Thank you. I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on. Just stare at it again. These bitches gay. Good for them. This one was fun to work on, mostly because there was a gold ring, because of the one ring. But I like rendering gold and other metallics can be really fun, and I feel like I don't do it enough on like a level of this detail. So this is very fun to do. Looking in the mirror. Oh, oof, that was not on key. Look in the mirror. Paradise, yeah, yeah. I'm lost, but I like it. I also don't do chibis too often, so I'm kind of happy with progress I've made in like chibis and rendering and stuff. Okay, we're back to here, back to the apples. What else could I do? We can even like shift this around to kind of see what happens if we change. Wow, blue apple. Green apple. Looks like a strawberry / watermelon. Yeah, so I'll have to be very careful with how I control this basically. Decrease the opacity mask to make this less intense. What do I want to do for another apple? I know there's probably a few more that we haven't fully looked at in my folder of color studies that I got. I have this piece from IEFI. This under just IEFI, leafy, but I instead of the L. This one you can see there's crazy color variation in this one. I don't know how it looks value-wise. Oh, whoa! A lot of the values are very similar. So it's more that the color changes just look really, really varied when you put them on. You have the colors on. That's It's fascinating. I was like, this doesn't look like it's very like luminosity wise dynamic in its range. That's I was right. Or I guess it's more I understand specifically why. I was like, something about this piece is different. That's fascinating. It's they're still using the hues as shading too, so like keeping the entire values the same, but using color variations as the shading, quote unquote shading aspect itself is an interesting technique. I kind of want to try that. Uh, okay. Exercise 3. Hold on, what kind of color saturation ranges are you using in the first place also? There's some that are pretty saturated, but a lot of some of these colors get like super desaturated. There seems to be a lot of variation too. Okay. I guess we can start with like a moderately saturated apple color. Make it kind of bright. What if we made it more like a super boxy apple again? 2D studies, I will become more powerful. I feel like I need to do like a bunch of illustrations and stuff to work with what I've just learned. Otherwise, the skills I've gotten from the study will not be put into proper play. Was it only this year that I watched Dead 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 Demons Dead 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 Destruction? Was it only this year? I might be losing my sense of time, as usual. What if this time we don't make the blotches fit the striations of the apple and we just kind of like do it haphazardly? Oh, I wonder, we should do a version of this where I'm using more texture brush, like crazy texture brushes. Like, do I have an artist reference that does that? Let me check. I guess not. I guess actually Eefii's, you can see like the rake kind of brush-esque effect. I guess we should try doing that a lot for this. It's a little brighter. Oh, my saturation. Colors, or I guess apple base. I feel like the best way to accompany those hue shifts is the method I was using before, turning this on, or basically just like doing this, because this doesn't change the hue at all, or this doesn't change the luminosity at all, but it does change the color entirely. Should we try using more blues and stuff? I guess we can like go this way. This is super saturated though. Well, I can also do color, which will also achieve the same thing, but it looks like... Oh, I can also control the amount of saturation with this if I do color instead. Perfect. Because then that way we can do like a more desaturated... We'll do some blending. There's like barely any variations at all. This is fascinating. This feels so drastically different without any actual value changes. We'll do like gloss, I guess. What if we did? We can even could actually add and highlight would actually be noticeable enough. There are some highlights on this. Yeah, those highlights are noticeable enough, so I could actually add like... So we could do like actual highlights basically. I'm gonna liquefy it to curve this a little bit. Just and it's actually distinct as a highlight. Like the only distinct thing. Let's set the stem base, but make it the same value. Do I want to do that? I think we should. I could probably still do the. Hmm. Oh, and it's gone. Just from that. And the stem tip can actually be a certain color. You didn't realize until it was too late that Sally was having her post snack. Is she taking another nap again? Also, sorry, EB. I just saw the hydrogen stretchies. Ah. Stretching my hand. She just woke up and you need to hurry up so you can trim her nail. Her claws. Give her that manicure. The unwanted manicure. From Sally's perspective, mind you. Okay, for the cast shadow, we'll do it not as like intense, I guess. So not as dark compared to the other ones that we've done. Okay, that this one's in. Hold on. What do you mean cubby season? Like, sorry, I immediately thought of like, you know, like the little like shelves, like shelves with multiple boxes for like cubbies for like kids and stuff. Actually, I'm gonna use the displayed color version. We could make this a little darker. this doing it this way feels so fascinating, doing this coloring style. I can I can't I'd think of exact examples, but I can definitely think of I definitely have seen art pieces that have the look that this has, and I'm really curious if it's that really unchanging value shift that happens that really adds to that effect. Her little cubby bed. Oh, it's been too cold to sleep in there by herself, but you think she's going to back to hanging out anymore? Nice. You can corner her. Good luck. Wait, I also want to see if we can do light from surroundings, which is bounce light. Where are the art diagrams? What did they call this? It's just reflected light, right? I keep calling it bounce light, which maybe is also a valid term, but definitely reflected light though. Externally reflected light, sure. This one can actually be the same as the highlight. RIPR blue. We'll just have to make it go higher then. One and a half pause, nice. Now you just need to do the remaining two and a half. Oop, okay. Get the baby. She's gonna be mad at you for like 15 minutes. Jump in there, soldier. Go. Go forth. Go. Go, 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 go. What if we don't even, what if we just didn't do this reflected light edge? My strategy, like gravity, gravity. But boy. Look at me, don't leave. Okay, I'm gonna blend the base colors a little more. I think it's starting to annoy me now. Let me make sure, okay. Add some color variation in this, but not too much because I know it's blended again. Okay, I'll make this some darker actually. Since it's technically a separate element. That looks so different doing it that way. Hmm. Apple zoom in so you can see the detail. That's a really distinct coloring style for sure. Purple, indeed. Purple. And there's barely any value changes in this, which horrifying still. Like, where are your values? What do you mean you don't have any value changes? What do you mean? Like, the only value changes you see are like distinct parts like the stem and the shadow and these highlights. There's no actual gradual shading or changes in values throughout. It's so weird and mind-boggling. How is this possible? Oh, oh, poor apples. Oh, you know, I didn't even do the speckling on this yet. Hold on. Hold on. The speckling can technically have a value difference. So that's going to be fun to do. Apple. Apple. I like how I gave up on the special colored splotches like after the first exercise after I did my OG rendition. Okay, well, now that we have apples, I'm gonna go take a pee break really quick. So BRB. Maybe it'll give me some time to think about what I should tackle next. Piss break, piss break. Okay, hello. Oh my god, Bebe's on and I missed part of it. I can't believe this. It's whatever. It's fine. Anyway, I drink water. Some more water. I think I'll just elaborate on the study. Um, First, I'm gonna move this remaining line art apple all the way over here. And then these ones, I'm gonna move them all over this way. Me distribute. And okay, never mind. The apples. I'm gonna actually duplicate this. Move it down. And then over this is do this. So we can kind of see I'll do it in color. Basically the color values that are represented in each. The apples. Grayscale. Oh, yeah. And then I don't want to grab this one because I think this one's partially inaccurate in that. Because what I usually do is I'll do my sepia saturation boost, and that one will always be applying to this one. It's really subtle though. But I usually that's how it would probably more like this is a little more intense than it should, but I always do my sepia filters and stuff. I'll leave some notes here. Rectangle away left. Okay. It's sepia. Gonna get a ruler. Parallel line ruler. Under... Actually, I'll do this on a new layer. This song is so good. It should be right over, right a little more. Shrink, shrink, shrink. There we go. Mm. This one was definitely more experimental in its hue shifting, I guess. I used... I think I used the hue/color modes for this. Hi Vapor Blink. It is Thursday. Happy Thursday. It is not Friday for us yet. I hope you're doing well. What song is this? Oh, I think I know what it is now. Sweet like chocolate. You be good. How am I doing? I'm doing okay. We're doing some art studies tonight, so I just finished rendering like 4 different apples, and I'm kind of just writing down my notes for people's reference on what I did for this study. Very low value change. Very... changes. I'm just gonna move this above everything. Here we go. There, problem solved. Ooh. Put a stampy in the corner for good measure. I don't really know where to put this. I mean, I guess I could stick it on one of these apples or something. Hmm. Where is my paper texture? Oop. Come to me, paper texture. Sally's back to cuddling. I see. Are you able to trim the rest of her claws? Go, go, soldier, go, 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 go. She's still wearing. Oh, baby. Ugh. I wonder if there should be any other notes I leave on this on my how I was doing the process for all of this. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna use this color. あの時に戻りたい魔法で光る時計を今使いたいあいあい Hmm. I'll scoop this. I should draw a little doodle here, if anything. Circle ruler, come to me. Actually, let me do this in a separate layer first. You got 2 more claws? Nice. Does that mean you still have the 1 more or like half remaining? You need to get her little thumb and then her back paws if you're lucky. Good luck. use. My doodle. I don't know if I should do this as an actual speech bubble. Maybe I should. Go, rounded corner. I need to edit something in the note. Okay, I need this apples to like move the fuck over, basically. Um, okay, we could actually. I'll just put this back up here. That really would look like a D otherwise. Oh well. Good luck to whoever has to read that. We're out of the super high. Saturation. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty solid. Ugh. I do want to point out some of the colors used. Like this one uses, I can barely notice that additional color usage. Hi, White. Hello, I am doing the art. Or well, I'm done and I'm just annotating my work mainly now. I'm going to pick this blade. I should do that. I'm not grabbing any alterations from the texture. Thank you for getting Stampy. Stampy Wampy. Okay, thank you again, YouTube Music, for pausing. Please. Might put this one actually in the up layers themselves. And is this what color? And these won't do anything because these have locked layers in them. And delete this. Then unlock those layers. Up down. These are all shifted over. Okay, good job, me. You're out. And I bet you will be there. Thank you for getting your stamp also paper. Did I draw any of these? Yeah, I drew like all of the apples, except this reference image. These are all my study renders. Painfully so. Why am I hue shifting a banana? Why a green one? Uh, I was gonna wrap up stream after this. I was like, I'm done. I did my study. Can't believe y'all are immediately like, too bad, Bonnie. Give us banana and green apple now. Sick and twisted. Applin, Granny Smith, S tier, golden delicious apples are the like a nice gala apple yourself, cosmic crisp. Sorry, it's pretty good, but it also sounds like a weed store. I like how y'all are saying this, and there's like this nice note here that says, "I don't like eating apples." It's right there. Y'all are immediately like, "Let's talk about different apples," and I'm like, "End stream Bones is Bones actually?" Oh, the bitch. Oh, now you want me to end stream? Oh, okay. I see how it is. Indecisive. What do you mean a fresh Granny Smith? I've had Granny Smith apples before, at least. You saying you have a whole ass orchard or something? I don't eat this. Shut up. I don't wanna. I feel like I enjoy apples, just not the skin, but I feel bad not eating the skin of an apple because it's like fiber. So I enjoy peaches because I enjoy eating the skin of peaches and related drupes more than I do with like apples. I think I've had like a caramel or candied apple like maybe like once, and I was like, oh, maybe this isn't as enjoyable. What is water? What? Since you're missing two teeth, every time you bite an apple, it makes a smiley face with two. Hold on, I'm like reeling. I'm getting whiplash from Meepy's message first. I, 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 oh, I do like watermelons. Yes. I don't know when my dad will start buying them again, but once summer rolls around, it'll be watermelon with dried slash salted slash cured fish season again. So that'll be great. Watermelon. Although I feel like we don't get as sweet watermelons here. It's like I feel like it's a very occasional thing if you ever get like an actually sweet, like very noticeably so sweet watermelon, I feel. When is the tangerine taste tier? Tangerine? You really want me to find a bunch of different citrus fruits? Sumo orange. Oh my god. Sumo orange. I don't think I've ever even had a sumo orange. I've definitely seen them around for sure. Tangelos. Let me see if this will is okay, fine, I'll just search it here. Oh, it's the moon game on Google. Okay. Tangelo, Sumo Orange. Love that Pokemon. What Pokemon? Oh. Oh my god. What am I gonna do with y'all? Really now? Maybe I should make my own anatomy of light and shadow diagram for my own reference. Wait, no, there's a Clip Studio one. Oh wow. Wow, thanks Clip Studio for it's probably someone's tutorial who did it for Clip Studios. Clip Studio Paint's like one of their tutorial contests, maybe. But I'm gonna go shave dish. So I have dish. I don't think I have tutorials or anything. I'll just Clip Studio Paint guide to drawing shadows. I feel like for oranges, I haven't had that much in variety. I've obviously have had oranges and cuties. I don't like eat lemons or limes, but I've used them in cuisine before. um, what else? Grapefruit. You thought Theory Thursday was going to be about Simon's impending trauma and not color theory? No. It's even on my stream schedule that I'm going to do art. It's just called Theory Thursday because of Mika's comment on me collecting the images, and then Mika was immediately like, something something red in hospitals. Let me close some of these. Um, this is a different one, but if y'all haven't seen this, I'll just read it out for you. I'm opening a new hospital, and I think I'm going to buy some of these window clings to decorate the glass in the children's ward with. So vibrant! Red is associated with vitality, so I think sick children will feel energized when they see this. My thoughts exactly. The bright red means energy, willpower, strength, and determination. So kids going in for life-saving surgeries will see these and be reassured that they're going to be okay. And then this is very related to the more popular one. So our local children's hospital recently redecorated, but I'm not too sure they really thought things out. So, colors. So we're having Theory Thursdays now. It's kind of like a art studies and stuff. Art study and theory. Starting with this, because I've been wanting to work on figuring out or updating my coloring and rendering style, which I think was very fruitful. This was very fun. I was kind of worried at first, but this wasn't actually too bad. Do I want to draw a horse with you next week? Okay, I'll go ahead and do a day of May with you. It's Theory Thursday, so it'll have to be next Thursday, and I don't think I have anything coming up. I'll do it a horse, sure. I think for one of the upcoming Theory Thursdays I want to do material studies because I like conceptually get it, but I've never like done specifically material studies. And I think that one will be really fun because material studies is like basically rendering same shape object but in different material. So that's a lot of fun rendering practice and more getting the right texture to portray what kind of material it is. So I don't know, maybe I'll do like cubes or something. But I saw some from Pixiv that were like chess pieces, and those ones were they were pawns specifically, and it's pretty cool to see them and like it's kind of stylized too. The person that did the material studies, so I really liked it. So I kind of want to do some of those to practice because I feel like I don't do too much other than skin and hair and the like. And an apple, since I drew an apple like 4 fucking times today, or rendered the same apple. in 4 different ways. I just need some space, space, space. Voices in my head. I just need some space, space, space. I don't know what else we'll do for like upcoming theory Thursdays, probably anatomy and stuff. But I need to keep working on my art goal for the year, which was supposed to do monthly studies, specifically, apparently monthly studies with Citrona. Uh, so I guess we can do horses next week. That'll be fun. I've drawn horses like what, like once? Did we do a horse during that one animal study stream we did together? Was it? Oh, that was like 2 years ago. Did we do a horse for that one? Oh my god, we did. We did horses. Okay, I have drawn horses a few times. I forgot about this one. Nerdy animals, and then there were the full body gestures. That was a fun time. Oh, I just shook my monitor. Okay, that was also 2 years ago. Uh-oh. Hee stinky. Oh, thank you, body, for making weird noises. Okay. I think we should end stream now. Apparently, what is Bones streaming anyway? Is he streaming League? Is he being a League streamer? I want to see. It could be Risk of Rain. What else would Bones stream? It's Risk of Rain, oh my gosh. Haha. I can't believe he's playing Risk of Rain without me, though. What is this? This is kind of sick and twisted. I think this is evil. I think this is evil. This is a hate crime. Whatever. Here. Let's jump over to the scene and let me go ahead and wrap up and we can go ahead and say hi to Bones. Thank you everyone for chilling with me. I know this is usually a bit different from the art streams I usually do, but I really need to do studies, and I think doing a study like this is really fun. It's fun because then I kind of get to like practice, and hone my art skills, which is like important or whatever. But yeah. What is playing right now? Oh, it's also 5e. Okay, well. Anyway, thank you everyone for chilling here. I give you all 4 head kisses. Mwah, mwah, mwah. As always, if you don't follow already, maybe you enjoy the vibes, maybe consider following. I'm going to try to be doing more Theory Thursdays in the future so I can do more studies. If you want to know what I'm streaming and when I'm streaming next, I only announce that in my Discord server, but you can otherwise assume that every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday night in my time, US West Coast, PDT, that's when I'd be streaming usually. Otherwise, you can always check us out on social media if you just want to get posts from us on our art and music. I'm on Blue Sky, Tumblr, and I'm trying to catch up on Instagram, even though it's dead over there. And of course, as always, don't forget to explore and get your stamp for the session. But we're gonna go ahead and raid Bones, who's I think he just started up. He's playing some Risk of Rain 2. I'm assuming he's doing some progress with the latest DLC update for Seekers of the Storm. We do have a raid message for Bones. Our ins menu now needs some bones. Have you any you could loan? Because who doesn't love bone broth? I say, knowing very well we have a few skeleton travelers in chat. Anyway, we actually eat him. Yeah, skeleton friends don't listen to me. Yes. Yes. To our skeleton friends, no. Everyone else, yes. Bone broth. So long tongue. Actually, I really want to get samgyetang because it's getting hotter. But yeah, we're gonna be using that raid message. As always, if you have a subscription, I would appreciate it if you could use a sub emote of your choice at the end of that raid message. I'm gonna use this one because it's funny. If you don't have a subscription, you can still get a sub emote of mine to use temporarily across Twitch for 24 hours. Go into power-ups rewards and choose an emote to unlock for 80 channel points. Let's go ahead and get on out of here. Go ahead and say hi to Bones. Bones is a good friend of mine. One of the OG peeps and friendos from Prowler's community. I played some Risk of Rain with him. Minecraft. Spell Brigade. Sorry, I was like, what else? What else have I played with him? I don't remember if I've actually played League with him or not. When I briefly had that League account for when Prowler did ARAMs, I don't remember if he was there or not. What else have I played with him? Oh, Roblox. Right. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Meepy, for the gift sub to my bot. Thank you in general to Toad, Cremaset, Bone, Citrona, Onyx, Meepy, Zal, Ebi, Vapor, and White, and anyone else that was lurking maybe didn't make their presence known. We appreciate our lurkers as always. I'll see you all Saturday night. We'll be continuing Mega Man Battle Network 3. So more gaming, but not Blueprints this time. Okay. I can't always be playing Blueprints. I have other games to be playing. I need to continue my Persona 3 playthrough also offline, mind you. Although it would be fun to play that on stream, but also... But yeah, let's go say hi to Bones. Let's bother him. Let's ruin his RNG. And I'll see y'all